Folks, welcome back to Delboy's Garage. Now today I'm going to have a day off the trailer. I've got some final jobs to do. My number plate has arrived and that's got to be fixed on, and a few other bits and pieces, but I'm just going to step away from it for a minute. As you've seen, I've done about the last 5 videos just on the trailer and it's getting a bit constant. So I want to do some fun on the bike today. It's winter time. I took a ride this morning. It's -3 at night and it's about 1 degree during the day, centigrade. I know what that is in old money, but it's cold. Now this morning I rode up. I normally ride just with gloves on, and when it gets really cold I put the bar muffs on. So I just wanted to make this one about putting the bar muffs on, just to recommend them to you really. Everybody talks about heated grips. I never really use them because it never gets that cold here. It only ever gets to -3, -4, -8 is I think the coldest it's ever been in Dorset on the south coast. That's not very cold much, but I only ever do a 15-mile ride to work, so it's not an issue. It's not an issue. And I think the bar muffs are great. I love them. The problem with heated grips for me is they make the bars fatter. They become thicker because they've got heated elements in, and I just don't like the big fat thick grip feel. I like a slim grip that I can grip hold of better. I think you get better control of the bike. I think that's possibly the reason. I don't know. I just don't like them and I can't be bothered with them. So I just put bar muffs on. So I'm going to show you what I do with those, how to get those fitted on and how to fit them on correctly so that they work and don't hinder the bike. There's a couple of warnings with them. You must be careful that they don't hinder your switches and stuff and affect your controls, because they do wrap around all your controls and you still need to be able to operate them from inside the bar muffs. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do something else. My buddy Jeff in Connecticut, he's building a wicked Harley bobber, Van Rocco 66. I've given you a link to him before. Jeff is building a bike, and in the process of building that, he snapped a bolt off in the cylinder head, and I took the mickey out of him mercilessly for weeks, and he kept on until an envelope arrived with the bolt in it. So I think that's kind of a gesture, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to weld it to the bike just for fun. So I'm going to show you that one. Jeff, that's for you. So it's a little bit of welding, nothing much, a bit of ratification. It's all the things on a rat bike have to have a meaning, and this particular thing, see it, here it is. This is the bolt. He snapped it off in the cylinder head through a little mistake, and I didn't let him sleep on it. I didn't let him off, and I really did rip into him over it, purely because it's the sort of thing we all do, and I thought he deserved it, and he's a good mate and I knew he'd take it right. So there we are. I'm going to weld that to the engine cage and I'm going to get the bar muffs on, so stick around and stay tuned. This happens. Okay, the first thing is to prep the space. I've got my little mascot shell case there, which I'll take out. I just put that in there because it's cool. And I've left the other one empty where the mirrors came out, so because I need to get rid of this. My bar mirror, which I love to bits, it's a cycle one, bicycle one. If you ever want to recommend it, if you can see the name there, it's Zfal. But that's a cycle thing, and it's a brilliant mirror because it's kind of curved and gives a good wide angle lens, and it's all plastic, and they're about £10, so I get them off the net. You normally break them. If the bike falls over, they get sheared off, so why use one of these really fancy alloy Oberon ones that just is the first casualty if the bike falls over. So that's coming off. I've got to put that because that's in the way. The bar muff goes over the whole lot. I've got to get that off, which means I'm going to need mirrors again. So I'm going to prep those first. And what I've done, these are the original mirrors which the Bandit would have had, but they had like a 10-inch metal bar in here and they stuck out like big ears, and all I've done is taken out that bar and just shut these down together, just screwed them in direct. So they're little short dinky mirrors. They will only show a view of my elbow, but that's okay because I just lift the arm up and they'll still work, and they're only for this cold period, then they'll be coming back off and the bar mirror back on. So they've got to go on, that's got to come off, that's got to come out, and then we can get to the muffs themselves, get them fitted on. Right, just unscrew this. Now don't unscrew it. That'll be a text message from Penny Pitstop. How are you doing? What are you up to? Are you in the garage? Now, I need this raw plug, which I use. There is a video on these actually. When I first fitted these are raw plugs for building masonry thing, what's the name? So you can use those if your bar end weights are too small. I won't go into too much detail, but in a nutshell what I found was that these Renthal bars have a small hole in, about 12.5mm or so, and the hole in your standard Suzuki bars is about 6mm more than that, and that causes a problem. You can't get your standard bar weights on, and these bar weights, they weigh a pound. They are a good piece of kit and they do a good job of dulling all the impact and the vibration on the bars. So if you put your Renthal bars on, you are normally left with the prospect of those daft little things that they call bar weights that aren't weights because they don't weigh anything. It's in the name, bar weight. So there, if you want to use standard bar weights in your Renthal bars, they do fit. You just got to get some of these, which are just them, just raw plugs for building. They're about £10 for a box of half a dozen, I think. Just get them in your builder's merchant, and they're alloy, which means they'll last, and just an expanding plug really. So with a couple of bits of tubing cobbled on there to make a spacer for where the mirror was, the mirror bolted in there, and then that just screws in enough so it starts to expand a bit, just so it gets a bit of resistance is futile, and that then will grip. There you go. So you can fit, there you go, perfect example, you can fit standard bar weights to your Renthal bars. It is not impossible. Everyone says it's impossible to use these with Renthals because the hole is smaller inside. There you go, that's how you do it. Simple. I did a video of that before anyway. It's kind of a ghetto way to do it, but it works a treat. And they stay there. And being, like I said earlier, a pound in weight each, they are something like 16 ounces. Really heavy. It's a solid piece of steel, and that gives a great deal more damping, makes the bike more comfortable. Find somewhere else to put my little mascot. Right. Now some half proper mirrors back on, which is a shame because I kind of like my little bar end, but there we are. Winter cometh. I guess. Right. Lock nuts. Lock them up. Now these are going to be crap, they truly are, because all I'm going to get is a view of my elbow. They don't come out far enough, but I don't want them out any further. Just lift your arm up. It's a little trick. You ride along, just lift your arm up and you get the view underneath. Works fine. It's exactly the same way that Pan-European mirrors work. They're the same. On a Pan-European the mirrors are right down sort of hip level, and to look in them they're looking underneath your arm, which is actually an excellent way to have a mirror. You get a brilliant view, but I can't stand big dangling mirrors right up here, so that's what we've got. And I should just be able to adjust those a leader. Okay, time for the first muff. I'm going to say muff a lot in this video, which is wonderful. Okay, you slip it on. Now it just goes inside the mirror like that. Wiring to one side, and then that holds them on. There we go. And just fold on like that. Now, there's loads of people use these. Originally, I first saw these with dispatch riders in London in the 80s, and they're brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. They keep the wind and the rain and everything off. They drop the wind chill factor because they stop anything going past your hand. And as much as the big GS bikes and all the big old BMW GSs and so on, they have the hand guards, all those adventure bikes. I don't think those hand guards come close compared to a good bar muff. Nothing like putting your hand in a warm muff. There it is again, simple principle. Pop it on. The cables, all this cabling under here goes in between it, so that just lock the other side. Here we are. with all these bar muffs, there's different ones. You can buy them from many different companies and they're all good, I'm sure. But these ones I paid just £10 for from Oxford Products. Oxford do a much better one. You can pay about £100 for the top ones. And there are heated ones which have got like a little element inside them. I can't really see the point of it, but they're there because if you've got a heated grip, I don't know, it depends how toasty you need your hands or what you can tolerate, how much cold you can take, or how much of a girl you are. But personally, I've got no heated grips in there, don't need them, they're good enough. Now, that goes. Just a case of fiddling about with these until they're done up as tight as you can get them to stop the draft going in. There we are, all fitted on. A great way to keep your hands warm. And these, like I said, were just £10. You can buy them for a lot more money, but you don't need to. They're nice and warm. Put your hand in there on a winter's day, keep you warm. Right, I just want to show you as well how these mirrors work. Now, they are quite daft being that short right down, but they do work, because if your hand's there, there's the view. There's the mirror. That's my eye view. And to see behind, just lift your arm out of the way. So there we are, mirrors sorted, muffs on. That's going to be warm pinkies for this cold spell. It isn't much. They're talking about it warming up again next week, back up to 12 degrees, which will mean they come straight back off. Because I don't like the look of them, they look a bit daft. Like a couple of big slippers. There we are. When you're not using them, when you're out, you leave the bike at work, obviously that might fill up with rain. So this has got like a thin metal lining, which you just close up, pull downwards like that, and that will sit all day in the rain and nothing will go inside. You get a little tiny bit in, and I mean a tiny bit of dampness through there, but they're an outdoor thing. It won't hurt them. The sheepskin. If you know, some of the Harley riders I've seen put sheepskin on their seats because it just dries off. You don't see a sheep leaking, do you? Right, time for some. Now, like I said, my good friend Jeff in Connecticut sent me this because he broke it off in the cylinder head of his Harley, and because I was unkind in my ribbing, he sent it to me. All kinds of gestures there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to weld it on there. I think the top half is going to go up there, and I'll weld the broken off bit down there. Can't even hold it with two hands. There you go. That'll go like that, with the broken end open. That will rust and it will look great. All part of the wrap thing. So first thing to do, prep this gnarly old surface so it will take some weld. Can't beat the 40 grit. Wonderful. Okay, first just a little note for Steve. Keeps asking me, do you disconnect the battery? You should disconnect the battery when you weld. I do, mate. I just take the earth strap off and then I wrap it in a cloth like that so that it can't get or flip back and make contact with the earth. And once it's, pull that back on now. Once that's disconnected, then none of the electricity that you're forcing through the bike via the welding is going to come through and connect anything that's live and cause problems blowing fuses. And if you've got a fuel injection bike with an ECU, that is even more important. Whenever you weld, always disconnect battery. Okay, that's all prepped up. The bolt, I've just put a little bit of shaney on each side just so I can get a tack into it, but I want to leave that engineering finish showing to the top, so it's just on the sides where you don't see it. See it clamped on? From a round surface to a round surface, always as easy as it looks. Done. Nice and close with the earth. Bung a tack in there. Now just a big tack. That's all we need. Poke one on the other side. Here you go, Jeff. I weldified it on. Now, let's get the bottom bit on. Okay. I don't think this is gonna. It's not gonna clamp on, but it'll just hold it. Broken end up. And now just hand clamp. I want it in line. They ain't going anywhere now. So there we go. Bit of daftness. Now I'm not going to make a habit of welding all sorts of things that people send me onto my bike. Unless of course you'd like to send me a Garrett Turbo and I would weld that on. There we go, that's for Jeff. That's the bolt you broke, mate. I'm going to leave all the weld sweat and oxidization on it, and I'm not going to paint it either because I want that to kind of go rusty and skanky and horrid, which would look good. Yay. So there we are. One busted bolt. One pair of bar muffs and a video that contains the word muff more times than is healthy. So there we go, that's a little winter task every year. Fit the bar muffs on, keep fingers warm, and a little bit of fun with the welder. So nothing on project rat trailer today. Going to just let things dry off, let it all settle in. Got a couple more jobs to do, and she is nearly ready to tow. In the next couple of weeks we're going to be towing this up the road, provided it doesn't snow. Although that'll be an interesting thing. Never towed a trailer in the snow. Never towed a trailer behind a bike before, let alone in the snow. So it could be a double win. There we go. So that's it. Take it easy, ride safe. It's winter time with a vengeance now. -2, -3. Everything is a bit different. Warm the bike up for a bit longer before you leave. And take time riding the bike to warm it up. And as we warm the engine up by running it at a standstill, take time to warm the brakes up. Take it steady until you've done 4 or 5 miles. Just warm the brakes up, let the tyres get supple, let the suspension start moving, because everything gets stiff when it's in the garage overnight. And it takes time for everything to move, to get nice and supple and work. So give it 3 or 4 miles before you start pushing the bike. And you shouldn't really be pushing it in the winter anyway. You know, slippery roads, if you see a shiny piece of road, just treat it as ice, because it probably will be if it's -3. So take it easy, ride safe. Thanks for all the comments. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you next time.